you to see me read. I will have it up on Audible. That will make a big difference. But what I invite you to do while I read is to simply close your eyes, because my intention is that this book speaks to your soul and the creative aspects of your soul and your heart that, if not opened, will open in time. That is my pure intention. So in my last video, you'll see that I had spoken the intro and the first chapter, and today I will see how time goes. I will simply read the second chapter called Madrid Chronicles. All right, so I just invite you to close your eyes and listen to my voice and go on a journey with me, because that's really what it's about. You're about to go on a wander with me. Madrid Chronicles. Learning life's rhythms on a Vespa. With a single-minded focus, I applied to the exchange program and was accepted. By the fall of 1986, my Spanish counterpart, Javier, arrived at our home in Ontario. This became a 3-month crash course in cultural exchange right in my house as we navigated the delicate dance of sharing space, language, and daily life. But it was the following spring, when I landed in Madrid, that the fundamental transformation began. I lived in an upper middle-class suburb with Javier's family, and my Canadian sensibilities were about to be thoroughly reconstructed. The first shock came in the form of transportation, Javier's Vespa, which would become my daily commute to school and a symbol of the freedom I was about to discover. There's something profound about zooming through Madrid streets on the back of a Vespa, the city slowly waking up around you. The morning air carried the scent of fresh bread from corner bakeries, mixing with the distinctive aroma of espresso wafting from countless cafes. These sensory experiences became my first real lessons in living present in the moment, even if I didn't recognize it as such at the time. Weekends brought the most striking cultural revelations. Madrid's heart had a fundamentally different approach to the youth and responsibility. Here, teenagers learned to drink responsibly before they touched a car's steering wheel, a stark contrast to North American culture, where we often combined our first experiences with alcohol and driving, creating a recipe for disaster. We would gather in local spots, sharing liters of beer or sangria over hours of conversation and tapas. The emphasis wasn't on getting drunk, but on enjoying the social experience. Food wasn't an afterthought, but an integral part of the evening, arriving in a steady stream of small plates that encouraged moderation and conversation. Through these gatherings, I began to understand how cultural behaviors are shaped. The Spanish approach to alcohol wasn't about prohibition or rebellion, but integration and responsibility. This wasn't just about drinking, it was my first real lesson in how different cultures can approach the same challenges with vastly different philosophies and results. The exchange program didn't just leave us to our own devices. They organized tours throughout Spain, combining traditional food experiences with walking history lessons. Each site we visited came alive through stories, tastes, and hands-on experiences. Learning wasn't confined to classrooms, but happened organically through immersion. What began as a teenager's quest for romance evolved into something more profound. The friendships formed during these months have endured for decades, outlasting many relationships that seemed more significant at the time. My Spanish family became a genuine second home, expanding my understanding of what family could mean. Most importantly, this experience taught me that cultural immersion isn't just about observing differences. It's about letting those differences reshape your worldview. The rhythm of life I discovered in Madrid with its late dinners, afternoon siestas, and emphasis on social connection over productivity, challenged everything I had assumed about life and how it should be lived. The Vespa rides to school, which initially seemed exotic, became a metaphor for this transformation. Just as I had learned to lean into the turns, trust my balance, and flow with the scooter's movement, I was learning to lean into new experiences, trust unfamiliar ways of living, and flow with the rhythms of a different culture. This tale isn't just about 3 months in Madrid. It's about how immersing ourselves in different ways of living can fundamentally alter our perspectives on what's possible. The lesson in fearless living came not from any dramatic moment, but from the daily surrender to a different way of being. Chapter 2. So, I was only 16 there, and I turned 17 in May of that year, 1987. And, I realized that every time I read, another memory comes up. And one that has been cultivating itself in me is my intuition and potentially psychic abilities. Because there were 2 moments when I was there that I felt like I had, for a moment, gone into an interesting trance, or I quantum leaped. I'm not quite sure what it was, but I remember at one time I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I had this sense that something was going to break. And I'm at the kitchen table with my little Spanish exchange sister. And the minute I had this strange sort of reckoning or prophecy in my mind that something was going to break, that second, she dropped her glass on the plate and orange juice went everywhere. I thought, this is strange. I haven't felt this before. And then another time during that exchange, I was riding on the back of Javier's motorcycle, and again, I felt this sense of going inward for a moment, and I experienced a sense that there was going to be some sort of crash. And again, a minute later, I looked to my right, and a fellow had wiped out on his motorcycle, and there were a ton of sparks because of the metal hitting the pavement. Anyway, I really didn't know what to make of it when that happened. But again, just like I've said in that chapter, I've begun to lean into these synchronicities, or these moments that are inviting me to deepen my intuition and push back the fear that we do have more than 5 faculties, five senses. And as I go through the readings, you'll see that my faculties, as well as my experiences, become a little richer. And, sharing this with you is huge, because I bottled my spirituality up and put it in a closet for most of my life. And here I am in my 50s, and I'm finally putting this out there. And I had to push back the fears of, what are my friends that have known me since I was 7 going to think that are on Facebook? Well, I had to stop caring, because my mission is firm, that I want to bring people to love. I want to bring people to see that once they get past what they intuit or perceive as fear, they'll realize it's much, much, much more difficult to live with this mask of ego. It's actually really hard now, and I find authenticity is more like the flow of a river, and I enjoy it, and my soul enjoys it. And I spent many years swimming upstream, and frankly, I don't want to do that anymore. So I invite you to come along for the ride, and through the moments we'll wander together, and perhaps you'll find a key to your own heart, and you'll open it up and enjoy what you see, because it's all beautiful and it's all love and it's all you. It's all you. Enjoy this. I'm sharing a piece of my heart every time I open my book and share a chapter with you. So bless you all. I love you all. And may you have a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are in the world.